cornerback, no matter how good he was.
But we don't
Well,
know.
I mean, Atlanta did a pretty bad job on their second to get that second edge.
Yep.
They gave up a lot for that second edge.
Next question: did Deion cost his son to slide, or just a few bad? It was a combination of both. It was the media circus that nobody wanted, with Deion being on the sidelines complaining if his son was riding the bench because somebody else was better than him, and also the fact that he interviewed horribly. Bill Polian, over 10 years retired from being the GM of the Colts. He literally said prior to the draft, this was like an hour before the draft, Shedeur Sanders was the worst rookie interview he's ever done since he retired from being a GM. That's a bold statement to say about somebody.
Well, the question I want to ask is, how is Cleveland and Dallas going to get out or away from the Deshaun Watson and Dak Prescott deal?
Yeah, Deshaun Watson and Dak Prescott's deal look awful right now. If Dak can come back and be healthy and get back to that top 10 form again, it won't look as bad. But if he doesn't, if he ends up getting hurt, anything happens, it was a waste of space.
Is there any way they can get out of this mess?
Not for 2 more years. Not for 2 more years because of all the guaranteed money.
Wow.
Yeah, this season and next season, the season after that, they can finally get out of it.
I mean, couldn't a deal be done where Dak still has some gas in the tank? Couldn't he like go somewhere and make a team better, like the Saints? If it was the Saints, let's just throw the Saints out there. And now I don't know if Saints that are in a cap hell, they couldn't afford that contract, Dak's contract, whatever. But it's like, why do these teams put themselves in that kind of mess?
Right. So I want to get on to the rest of the stuff I got here, because I do have the complete list of UDFAs to this point this morning. And I believe, looking at the list, we have room for 6 more to be added before the Tuesday deadline at 4 p.m. We got a tight end, Caden Creekson, tight end out of Ole Miss. He's originally from Orchard Lake St. Mary's, right here in Michigan. He got a $15,000 bonus and 60K first year salary. Mason Miller out of North Dakota State. He got a 10K bonus and a 20K salary. Safety Ian Kennelly out of Grand Valley State. There's no details on that. That means they're just getting the basic minimum that the UDFAs get. I think it's like 10K a year. Running back Anthony Tyus III out of Ohio University, the Bobcat. Center Leaf Batanu out of Arizona State. Defensive lineman Keith Cooper out of Houston. Wide receiver Jacoby Keeney Jones out of UMass. He's a special teams player. If he makes the team, that's how he's going to do it. Cornerback Gavin Holmes out of Texas, who in his 3-year career had 8 interceptions, 28 passes deflected, and 13 tackles for loss. Zach Horton, tight end out of Indiana. Kai Robichaud out of Boston College, who transferred in. And then the last one is this one that I think is a foretelling of what's to come this week. Jackson Meeks out of Syracuse, wide receiver, is Zadarius Smith's nephew. And I think the fact that we didn't go edge in the first 2 days, and we did end up signing him out of the UDFAs, that might be just enough to bring him back. Do you agree with that, Ms. Trilla?
I mean, yes and no. I mean, it's so obvious that this is supposed to be the move that's made. Brad Holmes, if it's obvious, I don't know if Brad Holmes is going to do it, because Brad Holmes is, you don't know who he's going to draft, who he's going to. It's just a whole thing. If you can calculate what Brad Holmes is going to do, you probably are not right. So I don't think he might. I mean, there's a chance, but I don't think it's going to be a good chance that he comes back.
But the 3 picks I absolutely love in this draft that we did, it was Tate Ratledge in the 2nd round. I love Isaac Tesla in the 2nd round, just because he fills the void that we didn't have on this team, because Tim Patrick fills it, but he's made out of scar tissue and duct tape. Isaac Tesla is the guy that will end up replacing him as a wide receiver 3 going forward with his route running in hand.
We keep forgetting about Antoine Green.
I'm not forgetting about Antoine Green. He never makes the roster. He always ends up sitting on the practice squad. He has to.
Considering last year was his rookie year, this was his first year, and he was out.
So, I just think I think he has to prove himself to make this roster still.
I mean, Tesla does too. I mean,
I know, I understand, but a 3rd round pick versus a 6th round pick is a big difference. But the 7th round pick that we got first, the first Egyptian player ever drafted by an NFL team, the kid out of Boise State. The reason I love this guy is 23 sacks over 2 seasons as a starter, 32 tackles for loss. And then he also had, I think, 64 QB pressures over the 2 seasons at Boise State. Now, granted, it's Boise State, and they play in the MAC.
Isn't that Nigerian guy?
No, he's not Nigerian.
No,
he's
Egyptian.
He's the first
Egyptian. Okay, thank you.
He's the first Egyptian player ever. Ahmed Hassanein. That's his name.
Yeah. Egyptian. Okay, thank you.
Yes, bro. Yes, Motown Mitch. Last year he got cut and went to the practice squad and then got hurt, I think by week 2, and hit the IR. But he's back on the roster still. We brought him back because we can't afford to really cut him. You have to keep him on the roster.
Is Ratledge going to start?
Eventually.
I think Ratledge will start over Glasgow if he performs well in the preseason, because Glasgow looked like he was degrading, which means he'll be a good depth piece. He's fine because he can fill in at center or guard if somebody needs to come off the field or get hurt. But I think he will be a starter.
Okay.
I think the only person that's starting on this whole roster of draft picks is Tyleek Williams. He's definitely going to start.
Right.
But Ratledge is going to be behind. You got to understand something. The regime loves the guys that they got on an offensive line right now. The only position that's really up for grabs is the Christian Mahogany guard position. That could be either ran by Tate Ratledge or Miles Frazier or by Christian Mahogany. So that'll be a competition for that spot. I think Glasgow's spot's going to be contained.
Okay, who's their starting 5?
Right now, as it sits, our starting 5 is Taylor Decker, Christian Mahogany, Frank Ragnall, Graham Glasgow, and Panay Sewell. In that order from left to right. Because Graham Glasgow, when he was moved because of injuries to either center or right guard, Christian Mahogany actually looked better at left guard than everybody thought he would because he never played it at Boston College. He actually graded out better. He just didn't have enough snaps to count in the top 50 of guards.
Because one leg was longer than the other.
That was what they said. He was built as the perfect right guard. But after he proved he could play left guard in his first year in the NFL and did it, he actually graded out better every time.
Mm-hmm.
I think
what do you play at Boston College?
He played right guard specifically because of the right leg being slightly shorter than his left leg.
Oh.
What pick did I like the most and what one did I not like? My favorite pick is Isaac Tesla. And it's because we've been pounding the table for 4 years for the big-bodied quick receiver.
Is he big?
My one that I did not like, yeah, he's 6'4", 215 pounds with a 4.40.
Okay.
And then the one I did not like was the second wide receiver, the tiny boy that's just a special teams guy. He'll be lucky to make the roster. I thought it was a waste of a roster pick. We could have got somebody with some value like Jaden Ivey that was sitting there. And JB Bistrilla and some peckerhead. How are you this afternoon? Ricky Sakat in the chat. And welcome, J.I.
Mm-hmm. J.I.'s been coming through.
And Brent DeWitt, I agree. Frazier was a steal. Don't get me wrong. He had a late 3rd to mid 4th round grade on him. So to get him in the 5th round when we traded up, using an extra sixth and a seventh to do it without sacrificing any future picks, that was a great move.
Yeah, getting him in the fifth was great because I think he was projected to go in the fourth, but that's
Was that Zoff Frazier?
No,
no
not
Miles
Zob
Frazier
Miles
from
Frazier.
LSU.
Zob
Oh,
Frazier was a cornerback, I believe.
yeah, he was a corner.
Yeah, which free agents do we go after in the next couple of weeks? I think for sure it's Zadarius Smith. I just have that gut feeling that he's coming back with the fact that he hasn't put in retirement paperwork. He hasn't contacted other teams, and he literally contacted the Lions again just before the draft. So I think it's a telling sign that he's coming back.
Yeah,
I am a huge Arkansas
or
fan.
or let's put it to the play devil's advocate on this, or he's just waiting for teams to. He's in a position where he can wait. The Lions didn't have the compensation that he wanted. He's probably going to wait until everybody gets settled down with the draft picks and everything like that, and they're going to say, "Look, this is a person that you need because you didn't draft us for a position. You got room for me." He's going to be able to get his compensation from somebody. Trust me. He's just waiting for that opportunity. That's what that is. We'll see, but I think that it's on him. That's the reason why he hasn't got picked up yet, because it's on him. He's trying to see who he can fit with. He's got that right. He should get paid too, because he deserves that.
Yep, and
The
I'll
Lions
get to
can't
that.
pay him.
I don't see any of the picks start. I see Talik starting because of Aleem McNeil's injury and being out 6 to 9 weeks. They're going to let him start because Brandon Roy is not a starter. He tends to get tired and fall apart by the third quarter and get beat at the end of games. So I think he's more of a good backup to Reader or him to spell him in the short term. And here's the other one. J.I., I know you didn't watch much on day 2, but the Lions picked up Aiden Hutchinson's and Jameson Williams' fifth-year option, negating any trades from happening. So JMO and Aiden Hutchinson's here for at least the next 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Do you see the? Yes, I was going to talk about that here shortly, Pat. I got the information on him too. Levi will not be the starter at D tackle. He might take over to be the starter in front of Davenport because they already talked about moving him to defensive end because of the edge room. And he actually had his best production at Washington from the defensive end position. But our international pathways player we picked up is defensive tackle Laki Tasi Samoa, 6'6", 330 pounds. Big boy, rugby player trying to make his mark in the NFL. And what's great about that is he automatically makes the roster first year. It does not count against the roster count, and it does not count against the cap space. Yep. I'm 99% sure they already talked about moving Levi as soon as they drafted Talik.
I don't know. They might reserve for that one too. I don't know. Who do you think is going to start defensive end on the opposite side of Aiden?
It's going to be either Levi or Davenport unless they sign Zadarius Smith. If they sign Zadarius Smith, we know it's going to be Zadarius.
You're not going to put Muhammad over there? I put Muhammad over there before I put any of those guys over there. Heck, I wouldn't even put Davenport there. I wouldn't put. Nope.
I just saying by the money that they're spending and where they drafted these guys, I think that's literally the way they're going.
Well, Muhammad is a veteran, and he played behind Hendrickson, as a matter of fact, and actually, that's who the comp was for the Hassanen pick too. His comp was Hendrickson.
Yeah.
Do you think any of these guys have a chip on their shoulder?
I actually don't think any of them do because they basically got picked where they were supposed to do. Now, I will say, attitude-wise, Tate Rutledge has a chip on his shoulder, but it has nothing to do with that. It has to do with how he plays on the field. He plays angry. He's an angry run blocker. And if somebody gets past him on pass blocking, he doesn't hold them, but he makes them pay for it on the next one because he will not let go.
Wasn't he injured?
He had an injury, I think it was 2 years ago, but it was nothing major. If Levi makes the move to defensive end, Davenport is now third string.
Pascal better watch his ass too, because Pascal's another one.
Pascal's in the last year of his contract, and we didn't
Mhm.
re-sign him. He could be cut or trade bait this
Mhm.
season, or not even make the roster after the
Mhm.
preseason if he doesn't show out. He has to
Mhm.
actually show he's fully healthy yet, and he's flashed
Mhm.
it here and there, but he is not consistent enough to do anything.
Did you guys draft in the linebackers?
No.
No,
No.
didn't even pick one up in the UDFA's, which we have a bunch on the roster. We have enough for
Okay.
a 4-3 defense. I think we
Okay.
got like 6 or 7 of them total with the special teams players we got, and they all have had experience filling in. So I think we have enough on the roster, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's one of those sneaky free agent signings where you see one of those mid-level Dollar General Brad deals. Either somebody coming off an injury or somebody that didn't get playing time because they were buried on a roster.
I was shocked to hear this morning that Mike Green had sexual assault things, and that's what made him fall.
It was
Mhm.
that and his attitude in the about practice. He didn't like to give his all at practice at Marshall, is what came out from his teammates and coaches. So that those are red flags to teams.
But the team,
Uh,
the team that picked him up was perfect to pick him up. It was Baltimore.
Right.
They like doing that kind of stuff.
John Harbaugh absolutely hated the pick. He
See,
actually said
I did not know that he had any of these sexual antics against him. I did not know that.
John Harbaugh made it a point in his presser that evening. Now he goes, "This is not because we condone that type of behavior from our players. We're going to give him a chance to prove himself, a second chance that he's worthy of that pick."
Because so many teams
Because
passed on it.
yeah,
Didn't you guys want him?
Originally with the interviews, but it was like less than a half a week after the combine, all that stuff started to come out.
Oh, okay.
Bears draft sucked. Great job, Poles. Woody Frankie. Woody, the the link is in the chat if you want to join. You can come talk shit about the Bears draft if you want, because you're a Bears fan.
Oh, Woody.
I thought it was a functional draft for you guys. Are you mad that you didn't get Warren and you got Loveland? Because if you listen to all the draft pundits, and I actually watched the film, it was 1A, 1B. It was Warren, Loveland, and then the rest of the class was just men.
My girlfriend's a Colts fan, and she loved Ty Warren.
yeah. Ty Warren is their next Dallas Clark.
Mm-hmm.
That dude
better.
is awesome. And then and I think the reason why the Chicago Bears had gotten Loveland instead of Warren is because that's they want a regular tight end. They don't want anybody to do all kinds of superficial stuff like block and stuff like that. They just wanted a stand-up tight end that goes down the ball, goes down the field and gets the ball. They didn't need him to block. They just want him to go out there and catch passes.
Well, after the draft, she started bringing all this Colts stuff, and I was like, that's not happening. I mean, no.
I'll put it all in your room.
That ain't happening.
Tell him, wifey.
Well, I mean, I love the fact she loves football. She gets into that.
Yeah, it's nice when you find a woman that's into football.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
at least she likes a team. She likes a team that's in the AFC.
Right.
That's a good thing too.
Well, when they even drafted Ronnie Leonard, I was hoping we would get him, but when that happened, I was like, there you go. There's your starter. Forget about Richardson. Forget about Danny Dimes. There's going to be your starting quarterback right there, Ronnie Leonard. The boy loves to run. He can throw whatever. He probably needs some work, but I think he's going to be the legit starter for the Colts until next year when she gets her main man, Arch Manning. You will not believe it. I mean,
Saying that they're going to lose more games than the Jaguars.
The Jaguars actually might be a little bit better. I just hope that Lawrence gets his stuff together because he was terrible last year.
They got a new owner, right?
No, the owner's the same. They got a new GM finally. That's why.
Yeah, they got a new GM. Yeah.
Okay.
You're talking about Sunshine Jones, because he's Daniel Jones' twin brother with long hair.
Because isn't the owner that Con guy?
Yeah, I know you needed a safety. I brought that up, Woody. I mentioned that after this year, you have no one under contract but one player. Because Loveland is a good player, but like all good T's, they are great second round, late first picks. Top 10, may I introduce you to Hawkinson or Ebron? Take your pick. A tight end, he better be the next Gronk.
Well.
Yeah, like I said, I don't trust Sunshine Lawrence. I think he's the biggest bust at one we've had since Ryan Leaf.
Well, he's got a lot of weapons now, so I mean, he's got no choice but to succeed. And I think they fixed the offensive line. They really did fix the defense pretty much too. So we'll see what happens. I mean, they got Travis Hunter. If they want to play him both ways, I mean, they can play him as a receiver for a short, have plays made up for him being a receiver. I think he's a better corner, which I think that's what they're going to put him in.
I think he's a better receiver.
Hell no, he's a better corner, way better.
I saw him get burnt. I see him get torched many times.
That whole defense got burnt. That Colorado defense sucked.
B, I'm going to say this way, though. The transition to wide receiver from college, then cornerback, it's easier at wide receiver. And I think they're going to try him out at wide receiver and let him work his way into being an NFL cornerback first. I don't think they want to start him with some of the bad college tendencies.
We talking a little Travis Hunter?
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
You want my 2 cents really quick?
Sure,
bro.
I thought he was a true blue chip prospect. I'm beginning to think more and more he's going to be a complete bust. Here are my reasons. Wide receiver wise, he doesn't know how to run a route. He played in the Big 12, which means he went against teams that play absolutely no defense. That's what that conference is known for, no defense. Yeah. Also, cornerback wise, I think he's pretty good, but I don't think, I think he's got a lot of just refined skills he needs to really learn to be successful at the NFL. So I think he can amount to a pretty darn good cornerback, but you might not see that in his rookie season, honestly.
Right.
I think he's kind of the pick where I don't think you're going to get that rookie impact from him if he does pan out.
Mm-hmm.
If he pans out. And that whole thing with his girlfriend is weird. He's dating an older lady. He's kind of a cuck. He used to drive her to parties and let her go inside and party, and he'd wait outside and chauffeur. A little dicey. I don't know, man.
So Zach Wilson without banging her.
That's pretty funny. I was gonna say maybe it was you, JB. Maybe he was driving her to your house. I don't know.
Oh.
Now, if Travis Hunter would have went elsewhere, would it made a difference?
I think it would have. If he'd have went to a more disciplined team later down the road, because right now Jaguars have a new coach. You don't know what that's going to be. They have new OCs. They have new defensive coordinators. Everything's a learning curve with the entire team.
Yeah, it is. And people think, he's a better wide receiver. He's ready. Dude, Hunter is not ready to step in and be a starting wide receiver. I'm going to tell you that right now. He's not even close.
I'm just saying because of his run after catch ability, because that's why he had so many yards. He was second in yards, and he'll be a cross. He had all the crossing routes down, but that's it. He couldn't do the streak. He couldn't do the go route. He couldn't do the post. He couldn't do the slant.
He will see playing time on both sides of the ball as a rookie. I mean, he'll get jet sweeps. He'll get bubble screens. He will play some at cornerback. Don't get me wrong. But the more I look at it, I'm like, he's not a sure bet like I thought he was, honestly.
I agree. Your friend Robbie piped right in and said what I thought.
That'll be better. He just hates Jacksonville because they beat Pittsburgh one year. That's okay.
That's okay. Everybody hates Detroit. Everybody hates Detroit because we tied them that year in Week 10, year 1 in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
But that being said, I just think the whole division had a solid, functional B draft. Nobody really filled every roster hole with a starting caliber guy right off the rip. In the first 2 days, like we normally see, where they're going, "Oh, this is the best player at the position we need. We take that." No, they said this is the best player we need to fill our team. Period. Not the fact that
sucked. That's why.
Right. It was because as a whole, there was four guys. There are 4 guys that had all the hype, and one of them fell to the 5th round.
Yeah, and another thing, like all 4 NFC North teams address the trenches in free agency and also in the draft. So just smart moves all around, really.
No,
B, are you looking that up for Pat? When his Lions
Yeah.
retirement? Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Strilla, what do you think about my Detroit Lions takes? I was saying that Tyreek Williams, Ratledge, Frazier. I was saying that like Williams and Ratledge, or possibly even Frazier, 2 of those 3 have a real solid chance of starting as rookies.
I think actually you got one of them right as Tyreek. I don't think the other 2 are going to start unless Mahogany shows he can't start. I think they're solidified. I think the regime that we have right now, they love the players that they have on the offensive line. Graham Glasgow, everybody's talking stuff about him, but they're going to keep with him. I just think that these guys will be competing. If anybody competes, it'll be Mahogany and the other 2 offensive guards that we got as in the draft for that position. So that's a position for Christian Mahogany to lose, really.
Yeah, and I actually have a feeling, and again, this is my outside take as a Bears fan, that come camp and all that, like it really might surface that like Glasgow might be the 4th best guard on your roster, and really he might not be starting. But
I've said the same thing, and I agree. I think that's why they grabbed Tate Rutledge early, because I seriously think Mahogany was named a starter right after the season, and still named a starter in every press conference when they talked about the offensive line. They because Graham Glasgow fell off moving to left guard compared to what he did the year before. It compared to the year before, it was an awful performance. The year before at right guard, he was a top 8 guard, and this past year, I think he was 22nd. That's a huge drop.
no, they have a guy on there named Skipper.
Yeah, that's our backup tackle, swing tackle that we use and put him everywhere. Dan Skipper is 32 years old now, 6'8" and 360 pounds. That's a big boy.
Yeah. Hey, Broski, are you and Woody going to get together and go to the draft next year in Pittsburgh?
draft in Pittsburgh. No. I hope my visit. I like when I'm up in Pennsylvania, like I was last weekend. I'm in the Philly area. So yeah, Western PA, Central PA. I really don't ever get to. So to answer your question, no.
Okay.
So who asked the question about the rookie thing?
That was Pat Rothwell. Here you go.
Pat, it is Tuesday, April 22nd, which is already passed.
Oh, that was the voluntary workout that they had to do. That
I'm sorry. OTAs are on May 28th, 30, conducting this mandatory mode.
Right.
It really doesn't give a rookies thing yet. June 3rd and 5th will hold its mandatory minicap, going to June 10th and 12th. I don't think the rookie has. I don't think they have done it yet because they gotta see all the. It's a gathering of the rookies, and then they'll give us a date because I don't see anything. I don't even see it on the Lions website.
Right. They don't really announce it till after the schedule
Yeah.
release. That's when you get all the details of what weeks are what.
Yeah.
But Jim Jackson, Davenport's defensive line. Ratledge may start, and it depends on the play of either Christian Mahogany or Graham Glasgow.
Yeah, and don't sleep on Frazier either. That guy played a lot of football in the SEC, man.
I understand, but a day 3 pick has less of a chance right away than the other guys that were picked earlier. That's all
It's also an interior O-line, and Mahogany was a day 3 pick. I mean, we'll see. I mean, I really think that both of those rookies might start on your O-line, and Williams might start on your D-line. But 2 of the 3, I think, definitely will start, and be interesting to see how it plays out. Whoever starts, I mean, the lines are deep, interior O-line, and they got deeper on the interior D-line. So both good moves.
And we picked up another UDFA center to be behind the UDF center that made the roster last year in Kingsley Egukun. So we actually are 3 deep at almost every position on the offensive line now, because Mason Miller is a right tackle out of North Dakota State. We finally actually have a guy that started all 3 years at right tackle. to be the backup to Panay Sewell. Manu is still learning from Taylor Decker and also learning from the interior O-line at the guard position this year because, you know, he was raw. It was his sheer size and talent that he had coming out of British Columbia University is why they drafted him. He's basically a big pile of Legos that they're trying to build into something.
And that's the reason why they got 2 offensive guards in the draft too.
It is why
that might not work. That might not work.
Yeah, that is the reason why, because he's a tackle.
I mean, smart teams, smart franchises always they keep drafting O-line every year. I don't care. Should always spend some picks on O-line.
Trenches in general.
Yeah, I mean, it really
starts.
You know, yeah. So
I mean, look at Philadelphia. I mean, really, you can plug and play any quarterback in there, and Hurts is one of those quarterbacks you can plug and play in there because they got a great offensive line and a great defensive line. But Hurts don't have to do too much behind that offensive line. But and I love when Philadelphia tells him he's top 10. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. He ain't top 10. He ain't even top 15. That dude makes plays when he has to make plays. Just because he had 2 good Super Bowls don't mean nothing.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that actually. That's the only thing I will give him credit for. He did play very well in the Super Bowl.
Jim Jackson, I'm gonna say this right now. Williams will start because Aleem McNeil is out 6 to 9 weeks, and he's better than Brandon Roy as a rookie.
Absolutely.
Than Brandon Roy as a veteran.
100%.
I mean,
Williams is a monster.
He doesn't collapse the pocket for sacks that much, but what he does is he takes on so many blockers that it frees up defensive ends. It's why Jack Sawyer and the other guy, JT Tumulaso, were so good, is because they had dominant defensive tackles. Both defensive tackles was good, but Williams was the better one.
Yeah, and I think it's like a trend lately too. The last few seasons, like fans are always like, "Oh, it's a D tackle. Can he rush the quarterback? Can he get sacks?" It's like that's such a luxury when you have a player like that, and it's really still not the most common thing in the world to find. Like, yeah, it's great, but dude, you still need to have that freaking mountain in the middle who can just take up blockers and just, you know what I mean? Just really just wreak havoc that way without necessarily getting to the quarterback, you know?
But when the unconfirmed numbers for RAS came out and they were talking about it for that Isaac Tesla, the wide receiver we got, do you realize he was the 39th best wide receiver tested by putting their numbers from the combine into the Ken Platt math bomb equation to do the relative athletic score at a 9.89? When they confirmed the numbers later, he actually moved up to 19th because he went from a 982 to a 993. And that's a huge jump. People don't think it is. I said, but when you're jumping 20 spots like that for the confirmed number, that's huge.
I mean, obviously, it's a guy that, to me, the Lions targeted him as a player, and really wanted him, and you know, traded draft capital to get him. So, see how he plays out.
I want to see how that. I want to see how that pans out.
Yeah, that was definitely like they targeted him.
Jay, I can't even read it out loud. I'm laughing so much. Read it, B.
What's that? He's almost athletic as bitch. Hey, I was athletic at one time.
No, he said that you are more athletic than him. I watched Williams give the Michigan O-line.
I don't know about all that, but yeah.
Bucks will have 2 huge guys on that defensive line. Yep, yeah, they will.
Try running against that one.
Hey, that's why we didn't run against them last year. Vita Vea and the guy they had next to him.
I'll tell you what, Tampa Bay and the Rams are 2 teams not many people are talking about as Super Bowl contenders, but I think they both could be this year.
I think they both are.
I think Tampa Bay
are playoff contenders. I think they both are playoff contenders because
Tampa Bay had a really good draft too, and people didn't. People are not saying too much about that, but they had a pretty good draft too.
You know what? Because of the trenches that were in this draft, it made it a good draft for building a team. So all the rebuilding teams that you saw that needed O-line help, they did get that help. So because they were available all throughout the draft. I mean, and that's on D line too. You saw D line went all the way to almost the last pick. Trilla runs a 3.62 in the 40. Stop hating. Yeah, when he's running downhill.
Yeah.
When he's
When I'm
running downhill on a scooter, you're absolutely right.
Wait, what's that say? Strilla can drink 3.62 40s?
No.
What?
Yeah, yeah. Brent, I understand you're not sold on Tesla yet, but I'm looking at it from the player standpoint, not the draft capital. Because we all know Brad Holmes, if he wants somebody, he says, fuck that draft capital.
Well, he can definitely say it this time. I think based on what I read on NFLDraftBuzz.com, he was projected to go in the 7th round. So that is a jump. So
it was a combination between his combine numbers,
I don't know, man,
and what he did at the Senior Bowl that impressed Brad Holmes. And I said that during the show, J.I. I said, hey, look at that. The Ford's got a Tesla.
Well, I already got JB's take on this in previous shows. So Bistro and Steve, what are your takes on the Packers pick of Golden?
I love it. Well, like I said, this is the way I look at it, broski. Like, I'm not going to be a person that's going to sit there and say that this draft class this year was weak. That's just wrong to say about any of these players. I mean, because we're all fans. We're all this. We're all that, right? We have our own opinions and stuff. But you know what? There could be some real perennial stars coming out of this that's going to shock the hell out of us. Like, wow. And see, that's the way I look at it. I want to give every one of these guys that's in this draft, even undrafted free agents, I give them a chance. Let them prove themselves. Because, we all know, like, one of the guys, like I said, in undrafted, what's his name? John Randall from the Vikings years ago, one of the best defensive line players ever in the game for the Vikings. He was an undrafted free agent. See, this is the way I look at things. I don't want to sit there and say, oh, this whole draft class sucked. It was weak, whatever. No. Give these guys, I want to give each one of these guys that was drafted a chance, because you never know. There could be some real stars out there that's going to like, wow, where'd this guy come from, and this and that. And I want to, God bless these guys that's in the NFL, that's playing. I wish them the best. I hope, it'll make the league funner and stuff like that. That's the way I look at it. And with the golden pick, I love it. I love it.
I want to back this up right now because Robbie says exactly what I said on the last show. I think Matthew Golden was the best wide receiver in this draft class. And I said he was not only the best, but the most complete. I liked him better than Ted McMillan, which the Panthers took, but he fills the need for the Panthers, so it fit them to get him there. I think he was underrated.
Is it wrong for me to say that I sit there and said when we drafted him, I think we found our St. Brown?
No, that to me, when I watch his game film, it's almost what he screams, minus the gadget plays, the route running, the good hands, the way he can make a circus catch around defenders, even in college.
See, I said because I actually went on Russell's show the second day,
right,
for a little bit, and I said and he asked me about that, and I said I think we found our St. Brown right there.
I'm going by what he did in college. It was very similar to what St. Brown did at USC.
Yeah. I mean, he's not no 6'4", 215. He's small, fat, whatever. And another Hines Ward, another Greg Jennings, Donald Driver, Chris Carter or whatever. Those small guys who's not afraid. They're not afraid to go across the middle, like you said, make the circus catches and everything like that's the type of receivers. It doesn't have to be always going down the field.
Well, I thought the person that was closest to Amon St. Brown in the draft as a wide receiver is Ekabuka. I thought he was really good for Ohio State.
I can't take that away. I mean, but Ohio State always got good receivers coming out of that university over the years.
So this question for you, B.
Hey, Bill, let me tell you something, brother. That Cleveland defense is about to be a monster. Their offense might be crap, but their defense is going to be something to reckon with. Especially with Mason is definitely a guy. He is a guy.
That Giants defense is going to be a monster.
Yeah, the Giants defense will be pretty good too because they got a lot of defensive ends on that team.
I was going to say the Brownies drafted that nice linebacker out of UCLA also in the second round, I believe.
Yeah, they did a lot of defensive drafting, I think, for Cleveland. They figured they can't be good on one side of the ball; they can be good on the other.
Right. The reason why I had Golden as the best one is because not only did he run crisp routes, but it was his drop rate, which was almost exactly what St. Brown's was. It was 1.2%. It was actually better than St. Brown's, who had a 1.4% drop rate in college. You don't hear drop rates under 2% in college very often. So that is where I'm making the analogy.
Yeah, I also compared Jalen Noel to St. Brown. He was my NFL player comparison.
Oh, I can't believe Texas got both Iowa State boys.
Yeah, that was kind of funny. But we're getting close to that time of the day where I have to start doing my sponsors. I want to thank you and you, Broski Bear, and you, Steve, for joining us to talk a little draft, talk a little football, and I got one more question for B from Bill T.
I mean, you can say whatever you want. I'm really getting sick of that whole damn situation anyway. I mean, Eli Manning, they're always trying to compare it. Like Eli Manning is a way better quarterback coming out of college than Shador is. Come on. You're going to let stuff slide when that happens. I don't care what nobody says.
Shador's kind of the gimmick, man. He's going to be like celebrity DJing at like whack clubs in small cities pretty soon. It'll be like, oh, at the club in Louisville. Here's guest DJ Shador
playing for the UFL next year.
But did you notice after that third round, not a single QB was taken until after Shador was taken, because everybody was waiting for someone to drop the hammer and pick him and say, "Okay, free us up." And all of a sudden, the next 2.5 rounds, there was a 1 to 3 quarterbacks picked every round. I just think they didn't want to hear Mel Kiper call them idiots.
I'm just glad the Steelers drafted Will Howard because I've been calling that for months.
Yeah, I think Will Howard will be a good pick. I don't know if he will.
Well, Steelers wait to get their quarterback next year, knowing the drafts in Pittsburgh. And I'll tell you what, it's going to be crazy there in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, hey, Robbie, go listen to Bill Polian and what he said about Shador Sanders' interview, and you will be really happy you didn't draft him.
Yeah.
I thought the guy you should have took in the first round was Jackson Dart. I knew he would go in the first round. I said Jackson Dart, Will Howard, and possibly Dylan Gabriel. And I know you hate him, Broski Bear, but I think those were the 3 best quarterbacks in this draft for overall NFL ready.
I'm still weird about people sleeping on Ewers though. Ewers was just as good.
But his injury history is almost as long as my arm, so that's what threw people off.
He's played more. I mean, he played more. I mean, that's really here nor there. But if Archie Manning's couldn't beat him out, to start in that role, then that tells you something.
I think they wanted to save Arch.
Yeah, they just wanted to save Arch till Quinn Sewers was gone. I call him Quinn Sewers.
Yeah, I don't think they wanted to waste Arch's time. I think
Watch, I'm Ewers is going to be a good quarterback in the NFL.
I hope he is. I'm not wishing bad on the kid. I just didn't think he was that good at Texas.
Who got him, by the way?
He was picked in the 7th round, if I remember right.
It was the 7th.
Yeah.
Yeah, my top 2 rated quarterbacks going into the draft were Will Howard and Tyler Shuck. And Shuck actually got drafted in the 2nd round. So I think that was a great pick for the Saints.
What about
he plays for the Miami Dolphins? He's a backup he'll be the backup to Tua.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Dolphins, that's right. What about McCord going to Philadelphia?
I thought that was a good pick because Kyle McCord, he was a solid QB coming out of college, but he wasn't anything flashy or great. He does what Jalen Hurts struggles to do, and that makes clean throws out of the pocket. So if on May 6th you see the tush push is eliminated, you just took away 12 touchdowns a year from Philly.
Well, you just gave him to Saquon Barkley, that's all.
I understand that, but you know what I'm talking about.
McCord was the kid who was Ohio State's starter and then transferred to Syracuse.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And he was solid. He wasn't great. He wasn't flashy. He was just a nice, good quarterback for Syracuse.
Just like that running back Junkins, he was where was he at before? Ole Miss.
Mm-hmm.
Then he transferred to Ohio State.
So it's time to do my fake sponsors of the week.
Oh no!
First off, it's the Bears. In third place, it's Bucks the Packers. FTP. And then it's Skull. It's like saying score, but with a cock in your mouth.
Oh no!
There, I do everyone bad. You know, why be the average person when you can do something better?
Skull, ain't
McCord
that like
is
a
perfect in
name
Philly.
of
They can protect them with the O line.
Skull? Ain't
And-
that like a name of rubbing chewing tobacco or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. But Yoli Cruz.
Hey, Oli.
Yoli, what's up, Yoli?
He goes, that
Of course
NFC
it is.
North hate is real.
It's
You
like
just
that
don't know,
AFC
Robbie.
North hate is real too.
And Brentwood, of course, gives the laughy faces. I want to say thank you to my guests, Bistrilla, Grasky, and Steve, and say thank you for being on. It was a blast. I can't wait to talk to you guys again, but we are heading out shortly. Try every day to be a better person than you were the day before. That's the only way to make the world a better place. It starts right here. Oh, God, I got to find the one that has the outro video. Yep, there it is. Okay. Here we go.
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.